Hi everyone, welcome to OILS 513 Learning Module 8. This is the demonstration part of the Learning Module 8 lecture, and in this video I am going to walk you through the major points in your assignment for the next 2 weeks, which is to create content for a Drupal content management system. You learned a bit about Drupal in the first part of the video lecture and what it is. And this website that I have set up here is solely for our use in this class, and each of you is an administrator on the website. And you should have received, I think about 2 weeks ago or so, a user account email from me so that you can get on the website. And if you have not received that, or if you've lost it, please email me at once and I will email you back a username and password that you can get logged on with so you can start the assignment. Now, the assignment instructions that are online are extremely detailed, and this is a rather involved assignment, but it's also should be a very enjoyable one. You'll get to learn a lot about how content management systems in general work, and specifically how Drupal works. Obviously, not all software packages are the same, but a lot of the concepts will transfer to any other type of CMS you want to use, whether it's Joomla or WordPress or something like that. So there's like 4 main activities in your assignment. The first one is that you're going to create a metadata schema, which is a set of related fields, database fields, that describe a certain type of information object. So the catalog card in a library catalog is a good metadata object that has specific related fields that describe a library book or journal. Other types of metadata schemas can cover customer information, contact information, order information, document information, research information, etc. The second part of your assignment is you're going to create the Drupal form of a metadata schema, which is called a content type. And a content type is a record inside of Drupal that represents all of the fields and the configuration settings that you have expressed in your metadata schema, and you use a content type object to create record data entry forms from. The content type sets up the record so that all you have to do is enter the data and save the record, and then you've got a new content management system record based on that content type. The third thing is that you're going to create what's called a view in Drupal. In other database management systems, a view is what we would call a report or a query. A view packages the information records in your content management system, in your Drupal website, and makes them look attractive and useful to end users. The fourth thing you'll do, and you'll actually do this last thing, is you'll post on your own personal blog 3 times during the assignment to tell the rest of your classmates that you have completed a part of the assignment, and to ask them for their review and feedback. Now, all review and feedback on your classmates' work obviously has to be polite and considerate and supportive. It can be a critique if you have suggestions for improvement, of course, but we need to remain very civil and collegial in our communication. So we're going to go through those 4 activities, and what I'm going to omit showing you in the video lecture is covered in the written instructions for the assignment. So the first part of the assignment, as I mentioned, is for you to create a metadata schema. and to save that as a Word document. And we don't need to talk any further about that in the video because I've written up the instructions in a fairly extensive manner on that. So after you create your metadata schema document, you need to post a blog entry and tell everybody in the class that you've finished that part of the assignment. So when you log on, let's actually log on to Drupal here. The URL, which is in the written instructions, is oilscommons.unm.edu, and you'll come to this front page here. And like any other website, you will log on. I think I got my password wrong there. And once you're logged on, you'll know because you'll see your name in the Who's Online box in the right-hand sidebar. To add a blog post, there's several different paths to get to the blog post. The easiest one is to go to the left sidebar and click Blogs, and then create new blog entry. That opens up a blog data entry form here. And for each of the blog postings that you have to make, I'd like you to start by putting your first name, as in Kevin's, and then the part of the assignment that you completed. So in the instructions, it says for your metadata schema, we'll just type metadata schema. The next field is called assignment. It's a drop-down box. Pick the metadata schema part of the assignment. And then there's instructions for what to write in the body of your blog post, which I asked you to write a paragraph length statement about the organization that you selected and the type of record from that organization that you were going to create here in Drupal. So I'm going to create an electronic book publisher's catalog online. And for that, I will need book type records. So my statement here is going to be this schema is for an online book catalog for a publisher. And then I'd like you to attach your metadata schema document that you saved. So I'm going to browse to my removable disk. And I'm going to upload my metadata schema document. So you simply browse, select the file off of your desktop or your PC hard drive, click OK, and then click the upload button here to upload. And you'll see that it's uploaded here because there'll be a link to the document in your blog post. And that's really all there is to it for creating a blog entry. So I need to go down here to the bottom of the page and click Save. And you'll see your blog post is now displayed in the center of the front page of the website. You can see that my assignment, metadata schema, this is my description. Here's my attached file. And now, once you have posted your own metadata schema, I'd like you to use this comment feature on other people's blog entries and find 3 of your classmates that you can submit a comment and you simply type in a subject line like an email and a comment and click Save. And you'll see now that my comment is attached to the blog post there. So find 3 other blog posts and review their metadata schemas and post a comment. The next part of the assignment, excuse me, is to create a content type record that is based on your metadata schema. To do that, let's click the Home tab here, go back to the front page of the Drupal website, and up here we have, in this black bar here, we have the top menu bar, is what I refer to it as in the instructions. Click Structure. There's a structure link, is third from the left. And then you'll see the third option down is Content Types. Click that link. Now, this page, Content Types, lists all of the content type records in the Drupal database. We're going to add a new one, so we're going to click the Add Content Type link. And we're going to be taken through a series of pages that help us fill out all of the details of the content type. Now, the Drupal pages are kind of labyrinthine, and there's a lot of technical and advanced features on them that we're not going to use. So just follow along, either in the written instructions or on the video here. And I'm just going to show you the fields that you need to use to set up your content type. So once again, you need to create a name for your content type. Let's call this Kevin's eBooks. And then add a quick description, Kevin's ebook content type for an online publisher. The rest of these are advanced fields. There's two settings that you should probably change. The first one is here, Publishing Options. On this tab, click that tab and uncheck Promoted to Front Page. That'll keep the front page of our website from getting cluttered. And then under Display Settings, click that and just uncheck Author and Date Information. Now go down to the bottom of the page here and click Save and Add Fields. It may take a second for the website to respond. Now we're on the content type home page here, and you'll notice that we have 5 tabs in the top right corner. The Edit tab is used to edit the basic settings that we just saw on the previous page. Now we're on the Manage Fields page, and this is where we add and configure all of the fields that are part of our content type. The next tab, and we'll use this next tab, is the Manage Display tab, and that controls how end users see the records that we'll create based on this content type. So it allows you to do some formatting and arranging of the fields. The other 2 tabs on comments we're not going to work on in this exercise. As you can see here in the table on the Manage Fields page, we have 2 fields that were created for us already, Title and Body. Title is an identifying field that's in all Drupal records, and you cannot rename it or delete it. Body is a field that's usually in most Drupal records, and it is a big text block field that's made for long descriptive passages of text. So I'm going to use the body field for a description about my ebooks. So if I highlight body over here and I move my cursor over to the right, I see under Operations there's an Edit link. I'm going to click that Edit link and I'm going to rename the label of the body field to Description, just because it sounds better than body does. And then I look down here, and the only other field I need to to modify is rows. And what this value does is it tells you how many rows of blank text you want Drupal to make space for in the finished records that are created. 20 is a lot of rows, so let's just shorten that up to 3 to make the record look more compact. And then I scroll all the way to the bottom and I click Save Settings. Now there's a lot of other settings on these pages that you can explore yourself and experiment with. Now you see our second field is, instead of being called body, is called description. It's still a long text field there. Now we need to add a couple of fields to complete our metadata schema for Kevin's ebooks. I'm going to create a field here called publisher. And I type how I want the label for the field to appear as the word publisher. Then over here in the field type column, I select a field type, and I just want this to be a text field, a plain text field. And then this widget column here, sometimes there are additional features that you can select, but not for text field. So now I've basically set up all the parameters I need to create my publisher text field. So I go down to the bottom left corner of the form and click Save. And you'll always see, once you click the Save button for creating a new field, you'll always see 1 or 2 different field settings pages. And these pages allow you to modify how the field works and how it appears to other people. So this first setting is the maximum length of our field, and then 255 characters is fine. So I'll just click the Save Field Settings button. And then I'm going to see another field settings page. This one's just called Kevin's ebook settings, and that shows all the other details of my field that I've already seen before. The notable exception here is there's some help text field here where you can put in descriptive information about how to use the field for the help of people doing data entry. So since I made you all in your metadata schemas create a field description column, you could post could paste the field description in the help text field here. These other settings we don't need to worry about. So I'm going to click the Save Settings button. Now you can see my publisher text field has been created. I want to create a list field for ebook format that I'm going to sell through my publisher's catalog. So let's call this ebook formats. And then in the field type column, I'm going to select list text. And then in the widget column, I'm going to select the select list option. And that means the select list option means we can only add one value from the list to the field, ebook formats. Now, once again, I click Save, and I'm going to see 2 complicated looking field settings pages next. The first page here has a field called my allowed values list. That is where I put in the list options that I want people to see when they open the little drop-down box for my ebook formats. So I'm going to put in a couple of different formats. So we'll call one EPUB, we'll call one MOBI, and we'll call one PDF. Those will be my ebook formats that I sell. These other fields are technical, and we just ignore them. So once you type in one value per role in the allowed values list field, just go down to the bottom and click Save Field Settings. And here's my second field settings page, and you'll notice it's got all my other information that I've already entered. So here's my field label. Down at the bottom is my allowed values list field and the technical fields that we don't need. There isn't anything we need to change here, so just click Save Settings. And now we have an ebook formats list field. And the last field I'm going to enter is a date field. So we'll just call this pub date for publication date. Field type, drop down here, I'm going to select the simple date option, which is second from the top. And the widget here for the date field allows us to use a pop-up calendar or a text field or a list of values. I'm just going to select text field because I think I'm just going to configure the pub date field to be the 4-digit year in which that ebook was published. So again, I click Save. I'm going to see, here's my first field settings page. And like I said, I only want to show the 4-digit year here, so I'm going to uncheck the other date elements, month, day, hour, and minute, and just save. And on the second settings page, there isn't anything that we need to change, so we'll just save settings by clicking the button there. All right, so now we have 5 fields that are created and ready to use with our content type. I don't like the order that they are in, so let's change the order. Now, when we're on the Manage Fields tab here, the order that the fields appear in are the order that they are going to show up in the data entry form for this kind of content type record. And I'll show you what that looks like in a second. So let's change the order here. I want to keep title at the top, but I want to bring publisher up under title. So I left click on the publisher icon with the cross with the arrows here and hold down the left mouse button and drag publisher up 1 notch so it's under title. And then I'm going to do the same thing with pub date. I hover my mouse over the cross icon, left click, hold down the left mouse button, drag it up here to pub date, and I'll leave description and ebook formats in the order that they are in. All right, so I've made those changes. Now let's go down to the bottom left corner of the page and click the Save button. All right, so our Manage Fields tab is now complete. We have all the fields we need, and then they are in the proper order. So let's move over here to the top right corner and click on Manage Display. This looks a little different, but it still has a list of fields on the page like the Manage Fields page had. You'll notice that the title field isn't listed here. This is because as I mentioned before, the field information that we're configuring on the Manage Display page is the information that the user who reads the record on the website is going to see. So the title field is always visible to the user. It never is hidden. Not without a whole lot of extra hard work. Anyway, let's think about the order that we want the rest of our fields to appear in. Like I mentioned, I'd rather have publisher at the top, followed by publication date, description, and ebook formats in that order. And we'll assume that the title field is invisible to us now, but it will be at the top of the record that the user sees. Now we also have a new item on the list called a Share This entry. And this is a share this set of icons like you see on newspaper and other kinds of news and information sites that let you click on the Facebook icon and post an article that you're reading on Facebook, etc. Normally I would keep this visible, and you certainly can on your records, but to show you that I can also hide fields from users, all I have to do here is left click and hold on the share this row and drag it down below into the hidden section. Now the share this options will be hidden from users. They won't be able to see them. In the center column here, we have label options. So the label is the little tag that tells you what the field content is. And there are three options. There's hidden, inline, and above. Hidden obviously means that the label is missing altogether and the user does not see what the label is. Inline means that the label is on the same line as the field text. So it would be basically the field label like publisher, colon, and then the name of the publisher following it. And then above simply sets the label above the text in the field. So that would be publisher colon and then a carriage return, and underneath that would be the actual name of the publisher. So let's keep publisher as an inline label. Same thing with date. Let's put the label for description above the text. And let's change the ebook format label to inline as well. Now there are some ways that you can change additional features. So for example, with the publication date field here, I can indicate time since the date was entered in the publication date field, just the date and time, or we can generate a plain text version of the date and time. I'm just going to leave it as date and time alone. But you can see that there are other types of options. So the description field can be trimmed to a certain length, and we can hide fields and do other things that we don't have time to talk about too much in this exercise. So now that we've set our label data, we've organized our fields on the Manage Display page, we're just going to save this and we'll be done with creating our content type. And now we're ready to create some records using the Kevin's eBooks content type. So to do that, there's actually a couple of different ways. I'm going to close the page using the little close button on the top right corner. Go back here to the front page. You should see a gray or brown bar below the top menu bar. This is called a shortcut bar. And you should already have an add content option on the shortcut bar. So you can click that to create a new record using your content type. Or we can go up to the top menu bar and click on the content link. And then the first option on the content page is to add content. So let's do that. Let's click add content here. After you click add content, you are shown a list of all of the content types that are available on this Drupal website. And you'll see right down here in the middle is the Kevin's eBooks content type. So I'm going to click that. Now I have a blank data entry form for the Kevin's eBooks content type, so I can create a record of unique information. Here's our title field. So I'm going to type in the title of a book that I know. that is about New Mexico. And let's say the publisher is the U.S. Park Service. And it was published in 2006. And then I have a description field, book about the Salinas Pueblo missions. And then I have an ebook field format, an ebook formats field. And let's say this one is available in PDF format. Now, those are the 5 fields that we set up for our content type. There's a lot of other settings that you can alter. The only one I would recommend here is clicking on publishing options, making sure, that's promoted to front page is unchecked, which it is. So let's click the save button. And we're taken directly to our first record, our first ebook record that we created based on the content type that we made. Here's the title of the book, In the Midst of a Loneliness, publisher U.S. Park Service, published 2006, book about Salinas Pueblo missions, and in PDF format. It does also still have the comment form down below. Normally we might take that out, but for this exercise, it's not necessary. Now you can go back and edit your records at any point. You simply find the record and click on the title link usually, and then click the edit button. That opens the record so you can edit the data in it. And if you're not happy with the way the record is displaying information here, you can click the Manage Display tab in the record and open up that Manage Display form where you can change field order and labels and so forth. Now, once you have created several records, and I think in the instructions I told you all to create at least 5. More than 5 would be better, but create at least 5 records based on the content type that you create. Now, you can either browse for the records or you can search for them. The search box is right here on the front home page in the left menu, left sidebar, I mean. There's a little trick in Drupal that we need to make sure that when we add a whole bunch of new records into the database, that they are entered into the database search indexes. Now, Drupal is set here to index itself every 3 hours, but if you want to practice searching for your own records in less than 3 hours, then we need to kick the indexer into working immediately instead of waiting until the 3-hour mark. So to do that, in fact, let me just give you a demo here. I'm going to type in the midst, click the search button, and we'll get no results. Yeah, your search yielded no results, even though we know that that record is in there. So let's go up here to the top menu bar and click on the configuration option. And then on the right-hand side, about 5-6 items down, let's click on the cron option. Cron is the process on the server that handles making sure that the indexer runs and that other tasks like maintenance and checking for updates takes place. So I clicked on the cron link there. Now there's a run cron button. And you can run cron all day long. It won't hurt anything, so don't be timid about trying to run the indexer. So now we say cron ran successfully. It should say ran successfully. And we can go back to the front page of the database. I'm to the Drupal site. And it's taking a second. All right, so now the whole site has been re-indexed. It just took a second. And I'm going to type in the midst in my search box again and click the search button. And you see now that I've run the indexer, search results yield one record in the midst of a loneliness. And I simply click the title to view the entire record there. So cron is an important part of managing a Drupal website, making sure that you run the cron process, which is actually part of the underlying operating system of the website. Now, the final part of the assignment that you need to perform is to create a view. Now, a view is, like I mentioned earlier, it's a way to package and display information to the end users that you are expecting to read your information on the website. A view is a combination of a query, which is a search tool in a database, and a report, which is a display tool. And we only have one record here, but I can show you the basics of how to set up the view very easily. To start off with, we need to go back to the top menu bar and click the structure option again, and scroll all the way to the bottom of the structure page till we see views. Click that link. And now on the views page, we're going to click the add new view link. And we see a data entry form that we use to create the view. So we need a view name that's for internal purposes, just to keep track of the view records. So I'm going to type Kevin's ebook view as my name, and you should use something similar with your first name and then the name of your content type. Here in the row where we see show content, leave that set to content. Of type, change that to your content type, the content type you just created. So I'm going to select Kevin's eBooks, and you can sort them by newest first or by title, or these options right off the bat. So I'm going to select title. We want to create a page, so leave that set. The page title is going to be Kevin's eBooks. Let's just say that's Kevin's eBooks. And the path here is important. This is actually the URL to your view that you can give somebody who has a user account on the site, because like I said, we have the website is restricted for our class use, so you won't be able to send it to anybody outside of the class. But anybody inside the class, you can send this URL. And where it changed my apostrophe S to dash S, I'm just going to take that out. So let's just call this Kevin's ebooks. And that will be the URL that you post in your last blog entry right there. That's exactly it. So you can copy it down at this point, or you can copy it down later. Let's leave this set to unformatted list. And nobody's going to have more than 10 items to display, so let's just make it 5 items. And the option here to use a pager just puts the page number links at the bottom of the view. So if you have more than 5 records, they spill over into page 2 or page 3, etc. Doesn't look like there's anything else that we need to set on this page. So let's click the Continue and Edit button. You notice you get a yellow warning up here that all changes are stored temporarily. You simply go to the right-hand side of the page where there's a Save button at the top. Click the Save button. And now all your basic view details are saved properly. There's 2 parts to the view page here. This is the part at the top where we set configuration options for the view. And then there's a preview section at the bottom. So we can get a basic idea of what the view is going to look like. It's going to have in big bold caps, "In the midst of a loneliness," the description, a book about the Salinas Pueblo missions, and then there's going to be a read more or an add new comment link at the bottom of the record. So there's only a couple of things we really need to change. You can change the type of format so that you, instead of an unformatted list, you are displaying a table or a grid or an HTML bullet point list. And I highly recommend changing the formats on your own. The other thing you can do is change on this show field here, change the content to fields. And if we apply that and click the Apply button again, you'll see that all of the formatting has been removed down here in the preview mode, and all we have left is a title field. And in the instructions, I give you specific directions for adding additional titles here. But you simply, in the field section, click the Add button. And then you get a whole list of fields. Some of them aren't useful to you for your content type. It's a little tricky to navigate these, but you want to find fields that are used in your content type. So here's one called Pub Date, and you see it says appears in Kevin's eBooks node. A node is a Drupal record. So I want to include that in my view. I also want to include publisher here, appears in Kevin's eBooks. And then if we keep scrolling down, let's see if there's anything else we need to. And here's my ebook formats, appears in Kevin's eBooks. All right, so I've got 3 fields there. So there'll be 4 out of the 5 fields showing in my view. So I click on Apply All Displays here. And it's going to ask me for each field that I'm adding 3 fields, so it's going to ask me 3 times, if I want to change the style settings. So, for example, it's asking me for ebook formats, do I want to modify style settings at all? I could say customize the field label, ebook formats, and make that bold. by selecting the strong option here. And then I click the apply all displays, and it's going to ask me for the pub date field if I want to change anything, which I don't. So apply all displays again. And it's asking me for the publisher. Do I want to change any of the style settings again? And I'll just say no by clicking the apply button. So now I have 4 fields: format, pub date, publisher, and title. And you can see that they are sort of stacked up down at the bottom here in the preview and don't look so good. They should look better in the when we actually look at the page setting. So I've added new fields. I'm going to say keep the sort criteria and the filter criteria the same. The filter criteria simply says that only show Kevin's ebooks content type records here in this view. Over here in the path, I can see what the end part of my URL will look like. There's only one other thing I might want to add, and that's a header for the page. So here under header, I'm going to click the add button. And then here on this header list of types of things I can add to the header, I'm going to select text area. And that gives me just a plain text box at the top of the page, the web page. So I click all displays again there. And here in the middle of the configure header page is where I type my header text. So we're going to say these are electronic books for sale. And I click apply again. Now you see I have a header text, and if I go down here to the preview, these I should say are electronic books for sale. So if I click on the link, I can get back in. All right. Now let's save our changes and see what the actual page looks like here. So I click save to save my changes at the top right corner of the page. And then you'll see down here, there's an option to view page that's on the right-hand side. That will take us directly to a finished version of our page. So let's click on that. And here's our view. So we have the title of the view. These are electronic books for sale. The title of the book, the first record, is In the Midst of a Loneliness. It's in PDF format, published 2006, publisher U.S. Park Service. Now, one thing I didn't mention in the instructions was that if I don't like the way the formatting here looks, I can change it by hovering my mouse in the top right corner of the view area, and I get a little cog icon. If I click on it, I can say edit view and go right back to editing my view. Otherwise, to edit your view, once you've saved and closed the editing form, you simply need to click structure, scroll down to views, find your view, and click the edit button next to the view. So I'm actually going to go back here and change this from fields to content the way I had it at the very beginning. And I click the apply button twice. And you see it'll take me back to what the original format, which looks a lot nicer, of that page, the view page, looks like. So I'm going to go up to the top right, click save again. And this is a slightly better formatted version. Now, I'm not looking for beautifully formatted views. I just wanted you to understand how they work. So don't worry if yours looks a little clunky. And you have plenty of time in the next 2 weeks to work on learning how to format the views, and I can help you if you need me to. As I mentioned, the URL, if you see up here in the top left corner, I've got the URL for the view highlighted. Make sure that you copy that so that you can paste it into your final blog entry. Now, that was a very whirlwind tour of how to create content types and views and data records in Drupal, but it should give you enough of a background with the written instructions to get you through the assignment. And just make sure you follow the written directions and that you complete all parts of the assignment as they are outlined in the written directions. If you need help, of course, call or email me. My office hours are on Mondays, but I can be reached throughout the week and on weekends too. All right, thanks a lot, and have fun with the assignment.